Anyways, but so I was asking you earlier
Mhm.
why another video with an INFJ.
Okay, well, yeah, well, I guess what I started to say was, you know, I just kind of wanted to get like a kind of a comparison between INFJs, you know, because I did the one with pneumoceptor last time,
Right.
um, and I mean, that was one reason. I just thought it'd be interesting just to see, you know, doing two INFJs in a row, like what's similar, what's different, because I get I get a definite sense that that you and
Hold,
pneumoceptor
hold
are just
on,
pretty
hold
different
on, hold
people.
on, hold on. Our connection went really bad. It froze for a while.
Oh, okay.
I
Um,
don't know if the audience caught it or not, but I know that both of our frames on my end froze for a long time.
okay.
So
Um,
everything that you just said, I missed.
okay.
Um, so you wanted to compare with Pneumoceptor.
Yeah. So yeah, because I mean, I see like I watch your interactions and hers, and I see you as like two totally different types of people.
Yeah,
Um, and
totally.
um, so that's one. I just and I guess just to put it another way, I find INFJs really fascinating. Um, I just I mean, there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of INFJs on YouTube. Um, I've been told that half the people who claim they're INFJs are not INFJs.
Yes, we'll
Uh,
get into that later.
yeah, but I just kind of assume that those like you and Pneumoceptor and Lady Lullaby and Hot Avocado, the ones who like
Are
stuff.
genuinely INFJ. Yeah.
Yeah, um, but you know all the one thing that all of you have in common is that I've observed is that you seem really personable and easy to get along with, and just using
Right.
that combination of NI and FE, like you're really able uh, to engage with other people and really understand them and desire to understand them. Um, and that's something that I've always been really receptive to. Um, and I've thought back, I've known what I now believe were either INFJs or ENFJs that um, that I've always felt just really comfortable talking to, and um, just like within first meeting them, uh,
Right.
I feel like I really knew them, or that they really knew me. Um,
That's cool.
so I just I just have kind of you know I just kind of like really appreciate INFJs, and so so I'm kind of, and I guess I mean that's just another reason. Uh, I guess I kind of I've been kind of interested in like developing my, now that I've established that I'm an ISTP.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've been more interested in kind of uh, developing my lower functions, the NI and the FE.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I mentioned in that one post on Personality Cafe that when I went back and rewatched my interaction with
Yeah.
Numa, how
You felt very self-centered.
yeah, and I've been kind of just more interested in uh, trying to I guess trying to improve that aspect of myself. And I figured one good way to do that would be to interact with more INFJs, or you know um, or just people who use those functions, the NI and the FE. Uh,
Yeah. I think that that's a very brilliant approach. I think I've never heard that before. I've heard I've read in Gifts Differing by Isabel Briggs Myers, where she actually mentions in chapter 10 use of the opposites by crossing over and using your opposite functions in certain situations where, like thinkers need to use their function of feeling, either introverted or feeling or whatever, basically to smooth over the situation, to offend, whatever that needs to be done in order to make it successful so that both parties benefit, right?
Yeah.
So, but your approach to this, I think, is really interesting, because when it comes to the tertiary and the inferior functions, someone in their normal life, let's say they don't know anything about Myers-Briggs, okay?
Yeah.
They have no knowledge of this. So in your childhood, Catherine said that you developed mostly your dominant, right?
Yeah.
So for you, it's your TI, for me, it's my NI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you get a little bit older, you're in your teenagehood, in your early 20s, and you're developing your auxiliary, okay? So then you get into your tertiary, and you don't start developing your tertiary until you're almost getting into your midlife, but not quite. Okay, so that's probably, I would say, about your 40s, your 30s, your 40s, almost 50, but not quite. Okay.
Okay.
So then when you're getting into your inferior, it's your midlife. And at first, you can experience this very negatively because you're almost crossing over into the shadow functions, which we know that in your shadow functions, it has experienced when you're stressed and you experience it very negatively, it brings energy out of you, right?
Yeah.
So in the very beginning of experiencing your inferior function, especially during your midlife, you can also experience your inferior through spurts of inspiration, aspiration, whatnot, yada, yada, yada. But let's back it up. You know about MBTI. I know about MBTI. So to become a very developed, healthy person, and we have access to this knowledge, we can actually start developing those and then developing a little bit at a time our shadow functions. Not all the time. That's ridiculous because it would drain you to death. But
Yeah.
every now and then, it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like extroverted thinking for you would be a really good idea because it's your first position of your shadow functions. And it wouldn't be that hard, right?
Yeah.
For me, extroverted intuition wouldn't be that hard because it's my first of mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we'd be able to cross over in a certain situation or circumstance when it's called for and needed. We have that awareness, ding, 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 we get it, and we use it. And then it smooths over the situation or whatever needed to happen, right? Anyways, I can't remember why I wanted, there was something else to this I wanted to tell you. It happens to me all the time. It's so irritating. It's like I have Alzheimer's. Oh, well. I felt like I just lectured you. I'm so sorry. But I think that's brilliant that you are interacting with INFJs to get insight, because there's a video that I have on my channel, and it's called Reasons Why People Attack Opposite Functions, or people who, other types who have opposite functions.
I think I saw that.
Okay. So this is exactly why, right? People who are uncomfortable using functions that they don't obtain or have. So they pick on other people who have those, but yet it's because they're uncomfortable about it themselves because they don't know how to cross over and use it themselves, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's very commendable on your part, submersing yourself with other types, especially an opposite type almost. For me, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. But I tried to back up to whatever point we were making before. Hey, I think, oh yeah, we were just talking about why I wanted to do 2 INFJs in a row.
The comparison.
I guess, I mean, in a nutshell, besides all that, I just enjoy talking to INFJs.
And I loved hanging out with and living with my ISTP ISTP roommate. Um, I mean, she was night and I was day is the best way to describe that whole situation. Literally, I mean, we had different schedules. I rarely got to see her, but when we were hanging out and I was cooking dinner and she was folding laundry and we were actually living together, it was really nice. But that 6 months flew by so quickly. So, but I'm seeing her on Thursday for lunch, so that will be really nice.
Oh, cool. So, so when you were living with her, did any conflicts come up that were like related to like the type differences or sensor intuition thing?
Not really. The only thing that really came up that was conflicting was when kind of our communication. If there was something that I had done that she didn't like, she would bottle it in. She didn't really come out and just say it until it was like absolutely at the boiling point. Or she would leave little notes for me, and I get really irritated at that because I can't hear the inflection in her voice, and so I would interpret these notes to be nasty because she's a logic thinker. So she's being forward to me this note, and here I am reading it, and I'm thinking, she's so nasty. Why is she being such a biatch? But she wasn't. It was just her being like, hey, this needs to get done. Why have you done this? Hey, blah, 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 blah. But if she would have told me in person, it would have been completely different. Do you know what I'm saying?
So there were notes telling you that you need to do something or just...
Yeah, or like I didn't, like, no matter what type you are, if you're going to live with somebody else, there are things that you're going to do no matter what that's going to get on the other person's nerves.
Yeah.
No matter what. I mean, I could leave my socks laying around and it could irritate the crap out of me. How am I going to know that if you don't tell me?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what type you are. It's because where you come from, your background, and what is your culture and what is your family's requirements? Where did they come from? Were they clean or dirty? Little things like that. It doesn't matter about your type. So, she, anyways.
Yeah.
Other than that, we got along great. And she handled the money. She handled the bills, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Are you really good with money and bills and all that?
It's not something that I enjoy doing. I mean, I guess I kind of do have my own system of keeping track of my bills and when I pay them. I have unfortunately been known to be late on paying bills.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't do. It's not something that's really on my mind until it comes time to to pay the bills. So yeah, I just see it as something that has to get done, and and I live by myself, so it's like so it's all my responsibility.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I had roommates in college, and there was like my last year in college, we were 5 guys living together in a bedroom apartment. So, but we divided up the responsibilities. One guy would do like these, like the phone and electric. Another guy would be responsible for handing in the rent checks. We would all take care of our own laundry. We would all take care of our own food. And we had we kind of negotiated for the TV.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the conflicts that came up, we just saw it as like normal conflicts between roommates, and I think it would actually be interesting to go back and figure out each of the guys' types. I have actually not done that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's just to like go back and
Are you still friends with them?
yeah, well, I don't keep in touch with them as much as I used to. Well, because for one thing, I moved away. They're all living in Southern California, and I'm in Washington State now.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought you were on the other coast for some reason. No wonder I kept getting confused. My goodness. Okay.
yeah, you actually confused me that one time. You said like
Georgia.
yeah, like you thought I was an hour ahead of you, and
Yeah.
I didn't know where you were. I thought, like, what, you're in what,
I'm
Alaska?
in Central.
Yeah.
I'm in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, now that we got that straight.
oh, there is
You
another.
know, oh, go ahead.
No, there's another personality cafe user in Georgia. I want to say it's Teddy.
Oh, really? Okay.
It might be. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, him and his southern accent. But uh, anyway.
But back to the whole, there are some things that encompasses psychology that has nothing to do with our hardwiring. Now, we can use our hardwiring and our personality types to our advantage and how we learn things and absorb things and actually maybe apply it more quickly. But like conflict resolution, our backgrounds and where we come from, with our family and how they handle things, that's ingrained in us, whether we like it or not. Those learned behaviors, that's with us. And marriage, I like how a therapist had once put it in one of my books. She said, God created marriage to work out our childhood issues. And it's so true because when you are married and you have true intimacy, now I'm talking about a healthy marriage somewhat where you know that person's going to be there for you no matter what problem arises. Because sometimes when you get married to a person, things happen later on down the road. And you didn't expect it. And you just have to deal with it together and you have to work together as a team, right?
Mhm.
So issues may come up, no matter what they are. I mean, they could be like, and I'm not talking about my marriage. I'm just talking about things I've read in books, like intimacy issues. Okay, you didn't know until you got married. Okay, especially for those who are religious and didn't have sex before marriage. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you have that intimacy and you're working out those problems, um, that has nothing to do necessarily with the conflict resolution. Sometimes it has nothing to do with personality types. It can be used to your advantage for sure.
Yeah.
Knowing your spouse's type, knowing your type, how that can click and whatnot. But you know what I mean, though.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's the way you were raised or your things you were taught growing up. I mean, that's all part. That can create this persona. That's why I was mistyped as ISTJ and INTJ all those years, is because the way I would answer the question, they were based more on the values I grew up with, not so much my
Right.
personality type.
Right.
Yeah, my mom's an ESFJ. My dad's. I think my dad is ISTP, but he pretty much acts like an ISTJ a lot of the time. So I think the same thing happened to him that happened to me, where he grew up in an environment that had more J values. So I still have a lot of J values like kind of ingrained in me,
Right.
that kind of make me kind of value. Like I would answer like on these little tests like, um, do you prefer organization? I'm like, yeah, I like things to be organized. I just don't like the process of organizing.
Right.
So, and that's just because, I grew up valuing those things. I saw the end result of, what happens if you take the time to organize and, be prepared,
Right.
make decisions ahead of time.
You see the logic behind it.
Yeah.
It's just hard to apply it and to do it.
Yeah. So,
It drains you because that's not natural to you. It's very hard. It's difficult. It's very hard for P types to live in such a J world. and I say that because most of the businesses and administration types and everything that is ran, our government, it's ran by SJ types.
Yeah.
Some NJ types get in there and raise up, like ENTJs, but most of them are ISTJs and ESTJs. Okay, we have some ISFJs in there, but for the most part, it's SJ world running the businesses and the governments. And so you throw these P's in there, these SPs and these NPs, and it's just very hard for them to cope, especially when they have these ideas and they want to get them out there, and they're not structured enough or they're not planned out enough for the SJs or the NJs. NJ is a little bit more flexible, but the SJs especially.
Yeah.
It's very difficult in the business world.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It wasn't just my parents. It was like, teachers, employers, every environment that I was in, like whether when I was in school, whether it was work, I was
Absolutely.
rewarded for behaving like an SJ.
Right.
So
exactly, and that's that mentality. That's what it is right there. Is you're rewarded. It's like lab rats.
Yeah.
You're rewarded with whatever that they're rewarding you with for these behaviors. So individualism or individuality isn't necessarily being rewarded. These teachers don't have time to sit there and learn individual. My husband's a teacher, by the way.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have to sit there and learn the individual styles of each student, because you've got 30 to 40 of them, and not quite, not in our school systems, but you've got 30 of them clumped up together, which is a large group amount of students.
Yeah.
So you can only take one learning style, reward them for that one learning style, and it's usually going to be SJ.
Yeah.
So what about the P children, or what about the more unique, rare types? Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate, obviously, about certain things.
Yeah. That's really cool, though. Your husband being a ENTP, and he's a teacher, and he can bring a
He's a fine arts teacher.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So he still gets to be really creative. But he's always had the gift of art. Ever since he was a child. He kind of went against his notion of going into business and decided to just go ahead and be a fine arts teacher. And he taught high school for 2 years, got laid off at a really small school district, and we had to move up to the capital in Oklahoma. And now he's teaching at elementary. But this year's going so much more smoothly because he's actually planning and seeing the value of planning and crossing over and using functions that he's not used to, and it drains him, but things go so much more smoothly in the moment. And so it's just he's seeing the value of it, and it's making me so excited because it's like I contributed, I helped, I love it. I found my passion. This is what I want to do. I found my passion of I said that I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Well, I can't necessarily do that. My life just won't allow for it right now. It just won't. There's all kinds of factors that we won't get into. But I love MBTI, and unfortunately, in order to give the assessment and to be involved with MBTI specifically, you have to have your master's. Well, if you have to have your master's, you're not supposed to be a psychiatrist, right? So like I said, I don't have time for that. So I would love to be a life coach. Absolutely would love it, right? Makes sense, huh? Now that you've met me and talked to me. So
totally geared for, INFJ is totally geared for that.
Yeah, right? I mean, I've already had all these stories in my life of just meeting people and then, breakthroughs, and psychology was my passion anyways as a teenager, gathering all these books and reading them, being fascinated. And I want to know why. Why do people think this way? And why do they act this way? And why do they do what they do? But anyways. But yeah, so that that is the inside of an INFJ mind, I suppose. But it's far complex than just that, I guess. I mean, it took me several years, I think, to get to this point of where I am. Because I'm 23, almost 24 next month, so I'm fairly young. I'm still young. I'm a baby, and I had a very difficult life. I had a very difficult childhood. I was adopted at 13, 14,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've learned a lot. Hmm. And I feel like I'm, this is very typical for INFJs, anyways. I read this in profiles that they're wise old souls, and they seem to have a lot of uh, wisdom for their ages, even though they may be younger for the wisdom that they have. Anyways, um, what was my point? Where did I
You were talking about
begin?
going into psychology.
Yeah, and I just feel like I can give back to the world with life coaching because of the rough childhood that I had to go through before I was adopted. And yet I broke through so many obstacles and patterns and things that would have been typical for me to fall into, such as addiction or being pregnant at 16, whatever people usually fall into because of the traumatic things that they have gone through during their childhood, right? Yeah, INFJs are resilient creatures, okay? They're naturally introspective, but I feel like I can give back in this way, and I feel like I have this unique gift where I can look into people and I can almost just see inside their soul, and I can just feel whatever it is that they're feeling and help them. And so, anyways, I really hope it goes somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
it probably. Yeah, from what I've seen of you, it probably will.
did I tell you my ENTJ father-in-law is certified to give the tests?
Oh no, you didn't mention that.
Yes, he is. He's retired from the military, the Air Force, and he actually is certified to give the test, and he did it for team building in the military.
Okay.
So he would do it to set up all the teams, and we'd travel across the nation, do all this, blah, 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 blah. So he, I mean, is really helping me with this. Like, okay, you can't give the test, but as a life coach, here's how you can use MBTI and blah, 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 blah. So we'll see where this goes.
Huh.
I wasn't quite ready to share this publicly, so not many people will watch this anyways, I'm sure. But, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about it. And what's your career?
Oh, I'm a software developer.
Software developer. That's right. I knew it was something with programming, yada
Yeah.
yada.
Yeah.
Um,
Just.
but,
Oh. Uh. Yeah. Yeah. Just. Yeah. Programming. And just creating software. And last few years, I've been getting more into the software build side of things, and that's basically making sure that that the software, that the code that the developers write builds correctly,
right.
so that it can be tested and released. And I'm, kind of, I write, scripts that automate that whole process. Um, like just kind of taking care of like um, the daily, release, testing, and just setting up like the machines that take care of that, the automation. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's been really exciting, and I've actually actually discovering my personality type has actually made me more aware of why I
Right.
enjoy more aspects of it than others, because I
Especially
was
about that.
yeah, because I was on more of the software design side of things for a number of years, and I actually got tired of doing that, and I didn't really understand why. Um, and it was more just the fact that I just I tend to get impatient if it's like a really long, drawn out project, and um, I'm not really passionate about about designing things. I'm more into fixing problems,
Aha.
solving like the technical aspects of a problem, and I still enjoy using the technical skills like
Right.
writing code and programming, but using
Right.
that to solve problems as opposed to designing new features. And that's more, and that's typical of an ISTP. Like, they enjoy problem solving and attacking just like quick problems and coming up with quick solutions,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just dealing with tangible facts. Um, and that and the type of job, the type of occupation that I'm into right now, which is software build engineering. That's really suitable for that. And I've actually been saying that in various job interviews that that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy solving technical problems and using my programming skills to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm actually starting a new job in a week and a half from now. So
Get out. So everything worked out. Like everything's successful. You got a new job now.
yeah,
Just
I just found out yesterday.
That's
But
awesome. Congratulations.
thanks.
Yay! Isn't interviewing exhausting and
Yeah,
not knowing and all of that? So now it's all over and you have a new job.
yeah.
Congratulations! Yay! Everybody clap! Yay!